What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so we got some more authoritarian activity coming from Donald Trump. Check this out, y'all. Trump poised to fire U.S. attorney for resisting effort to charge New York Attorney General Letitia James, according to sources. They're anonymous sources, of course, and they'll never let us know who those sources are. It could be just anybody. As a matter of fact, whoever wrote this, Catherine Falders and Peter, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, and Alexander Malin. Why did it take 3 people to write this article? But anyway, it could have been one of them walking into the office one day and some homeless guy started yelling out some nonsense about Letitia James, and they said, "That's my source right there." Boom. We don't know who these sources are, and they don't tell us who these sources are at all. It's always anonymous sources with these people. And most of the time, come to find out, oh, well, it's fake news. It's always fake news with these people, folks. But this is a good one, y'all, because once again, it's so easy to debunk some of their narratives, and it's usually like a secondary narrative, if you will. It doesn't have anything to do with the main story. And I love debunking those narratives because they always lie on those, folks. Let's get into this. President Donald Trump is expected to fire the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia after investigators were unable to find incriminating evidence of mortgage fraud against New York Attorney General Letitia James, according to sources. Once again, according to sources, the investigators were unable to find. Well, did you ask the investigators, by the way? Because the guy that runs the housing authority has all the evidence that you need, as a matter of fact, and we saw all that evidence. Yeah, it's not much. It's a single form, right? Of course, it's several pages, but it's a single form for the mortgage itself. Yeah, we'll get into that, but it's fascinating. Sources say they couldn't find any evidence. Well, the housing authority supplied all that evidence, so there wasn't really much for investigators to investigate because the housing authority already did the investigation. That's why they referred criminal charges to the DOJ. Federal prosecutors in Virginia had uncovered no clear evidence to prove that James had knowingly committed mortgage fraud when she purchased a home in the state in 2023, ABC News first reported earlier this week, but Trump officials pushed U.S. Attorney Eric Seibert to nevertheless bring criminal charges against her, according to sources. You love how that was phrased. They couldn't find any evidence to prove it. Well, hang on just a second. How many court cases are brought with absolute proof? All right, because see that word right there, that qualifier word, proof, there's almost never proof that somebody did anything. If you have a video, something like that, but proving something is quite hard. A lot of time, this is why most court cases are contingent upon reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt is a very good indicator of where we go with certain cases. They compile evidence, present that evidence to a jury, and a jury listens and then decides if there's reasonable doubt whether they did it or did not do whatever they're being accused of, right? So there's almost never 100% proof that somebody did anything. There's always evidence to point in a certain direction. So I love how they use that because, yes, there's not proof, but it's almost proof. It's pretty close to proof that she lied about when she purchased a home, said it was her primary residence, because when you purchase a secondary residence, the interest rates, are generally higher because there's much more of a risk that you're going to default on that loan, that you're not going to be able to pay it back because you already have another mortgage, as a matter of fact. So a lot of times the interest rate's higher, causing the payments to be higher. So Letitia James said, we're just going to say this is our primary residence. She's not even living there. Somebody else was living there. She co-signed with these people. while being the Attorney General in New York. This was a house purchased in Virginia. Now, there's two problems with that. One is the fraud, right? Because you can't do that. It's not her primary residence, because the second reason, she can't live outside of New York. She would violate the terms, her oath of office for Attorney General of New York. So there's a form that actually says that a statement from her that says, this is my primary residence. What other proof do you need, by the way? What other investigation do you need to conduct? Right? The Housing Authority already conducted the investigation. Now, understand, the DOJ has to do their own investigation, and they have to confirm all of this information. Right? Now, I will say, I'm not going to lie, this is kind of a petty charge. Right? But hang on just a second. Once again, folks, this is the world that Letitia James created. She started this, by the way. So, look, I don't like it, to be honest with you, deep down, because this is what they did to Trump, and I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now. But I'm not going to advocate for Letitia James at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to laugh at Letitia James, because once again, folks, I'll say it like this. If you go around saying that people should be silenced, people should be censored, they should be banned off of social media for opinions, do you really expect me to stand up and fight for you when you get banned off of social media for opinions? No, I'm going to laugh at you, especially if you got me banned off social media for my opinions, especially in that case. So look, once again, folks, deep down, to be honest, completely frank, I think this is a bad move because it's tit for tat politics here. But she clearly did something wrong, and you can't do that. So if he's got the evidence, go for it. Now these squiggly people that are in the administration. Sorry for that, folks. I'm having trouble spitting that out. These people that are in the administration that are kind of squishy. They're like, oh, well, this really looks like, political retribution. I don't want to be involved with this. Fire them. Get them out of there. I don't care. Get somebody in there that'll do it. Like, once again, this is the world that Letitia James created. She went after Donald Trump knowing that everybody in New York, pretty much everybody across the country, they operate in this same fashion. Trump did nothing wrong. The bank that loaned him the money said there was no fraud whatsoever. As a matter of fact, Trump gave them the information that was, some of the numbers were wrong, right? He was trying to get a loan. They did their due diligence. As a matter of fact, there was a section in that said, do your own due diligence, check our numbers because there could be something wrong. We can negotiate, basically. And guess what Deutsche Bank did? They said, yeah, you got some stuff wrong. We're not going to give you as much as you're asking for. We'll give you this. Trump said, you got it. Let's go. And they did the deal. Trump paid back the money with the interest. Deutsche Bank was happy. Trump was happy. Lo and behold, here comes Letitia James that ran on going after Donald Trump simply because he ran for president. That's all. That's the only reason. He ran for president as a Republican. Would she have went after him if he wouldn't have run for president? Absolutely not. Why? Because she hasn't gone after anybody else for doing the exact same thing. This is the world that Democrats built. Now you're having to deal with the consequences. Same thing with Jimmy Kimmel. You guys built this reality. You guys started it. And I'm laughing at every single one of you because we're going to finish it. And then we're going to drop all this nonsense and get back to getting, moving on forward with this country. Let's keep going. While sources caution that plans could still change, Siebert was notified on Thursday of Trump's intention to fire him, sources told ABC News, and was told that Friday would be his final day on the job. Abby Lowell, an attorney for James, called the expected firing a brazen attack on the rule of law. You love that, don't you? Nothing has happened yet. There's just rumors of this guy getting fired, and rumors of somebody getting fired is a brazen attack on the rule of law. See, this is the rhetoric that, once again, this is the world that Democrats are building, that they want to live in. Fake news on a constant basis, just an endless deluge of fake news coming your way to rile you up and finally get some crazy person to get out there and go do something that they should not do. They absolutely should not do. To commit some sort of a violence or something like that. This is what they want, folks. This is why it's an endless stream of fake news. They're just trying to shove this crap down your throat to make you hate Republicans, to make you believe they're fascists, they're authoritarians, they're Nazis, they're all of the above. That's what they're trying to do with all this fake news. Every single bit of it, folks. I mean, think about that. Because there's some rumors, all of a sudden it's a brazen attack on the rule of law. Is that so? Nothing has happened yet, by the way. Firing people until he finds someone who will bend the law to carry out his revenge has been the president's pattern, and it's illegal, right? And nothing has happened yet. Rumors are apparently illegal now, Lowell said Friday in a statement to ABC News. Punishing this prosecutor, a Trump appointee, for doing his job sends a clear and chilling message that anyone who dares uphold the law over politics will face the same fate. I love how they're trying to use it's a Trump appointee as a bludgeon. That's what they're trying to do with that, because you know what? Donald Trump is one of the few presidents. I ain't gonna lie, Obama did this as well. Obama did this. But Donald Trump, this guy was nominated by Senate Democrats. I say nominated. He was recommended for nomination. I'll put it that way. He wasn't nominated by Senate Democrats. He was recommended for nomination, and Trump agreed. Bipartisanship coming from Trump. Willing to reach his hand across the aisle and say, you got somebody for me? Okay. Because there's no Republican senators in Virginia. So how do you get a U.S. attorney? How do you get nominees? You must take a Democrat. Once again, same thing. Obama did this. Biden didn't. Biden absolutely did not do this. The anticipated departure of Siebert, who Trump nominated for his position in May, has thrown one of the country's most prominent prosecutors' offices into disarray. I love that. Once again, he hasn't done it yet. Oh my God, these people are insane, y'all. Nothing has happened, and all of a sudden, oh, the whole office is in disarray because nothing happened. What the fuck, man? Offices into disarray with the Trump administration so far unable to identify a viable successor to take over the sensitive position, sources familiar with the matter said. Right. Maya Song, the office's first assistant United States attorney, is the next person in the office's line of succession, but senior DOJ and administration officials have discussed plans to dismiss her from her role, sources said. Good. Get her out of there. Gone. Bye. Peace. See you when we see you. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you. Song, a career prosecutor who joined the office in 2013, has served as the office's number 2 prosecutor since last October. Song also previously served in former Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco's office during the Biden administration. Oh, lovely. Lisa Monaco. Does that sound familiar to anybody out there? President Trump has repeatedly singled out Monaco and alleged, without evidence, that's going to be pertinent, by the way, to my debunk. You love how they do that. And they, once again, folks, they always do that to Donald Trump or Republicans and never, ever do that to Democrats. Never. Every single news article I've read, which, speaking of, if you go look at my video archive, I've got like 1,400 videos that I've made. Most of them cover news articles. Some of them don't, but most of them do. I've never seen the corporate press say that any Democrat said something without evidence. It's always Republicans. Every single time. And, you know, anything that comes from Democrats is always anonymous sources. So it's like, are we just to believe these anonymous sources without evidence? But you're not going to tell us that it's without evidence. Apparently, they provided all the evidence. And Republicans just, they never provide any evidence for anything at all, ever. Right? Statistically, that's impossible, but I love that. Let's start that over. President Trump has repeatedly singled out Monaco and alleged, without evidence, that she played a leading role in directing the 2 federal prosecutors brought against him by then special counsel Jack Smith, which were subsequently dismissed due to a long-standing DOJ policy that bars prosecution of a sitting president. And it doesn't bar prosecution. It just says that they just don't do it. It would fall outside of decorum, essentially. It's not that they can't do it. They just don't do it because the president is technically their boss. But I thought that was fascinating. You know, once again, folks, every time they say Republicans do something without evidence, I always fact check that and go look up to find the evidence, by the way. And I found the evidence. And once again, dude, this literally took me like 2 minutes. Enough time to exit out of what I was reading, go over to X, go to Grok, and type in, was Lisa Monaco involved at all with Jack Smith? Yeah, as you can see on there, I accidentally threw another N for some reason. I don't know if that was a typo or what happened with that, but this is what Grok said. Yes, Lisa Monaco, as Deputy Attorney General under Attorney General Merrick Garland, was directly involved with Special Counsel Jack Smith. She oversaw the Department of Justice's operations during the period when Garland appointed Smith in November 2022 to lead the federal investigations into former President Donald Trump's handling of classified documents. That threw me for a loop right there. Former President Donald Trump, really? I didn't notice that when I first read this, but he's the current president. But, I mean, sure, he was the former president then, but anyway, let's keep going. Handling classified documents and efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Monaco's role included high-level supervision of these probes, and reports indicate she collaborated with Smith on aspects like his appointment and investigative strategies. For instance, in discussions of the classified documents case, Monaco was described as having worked with special counsel Jack Smith and being involved in his appointment. Additionally, analyses of the legal theories pursued by Smith's teams, such as under 18 U.S.C. 793, have highlighted Monaco's influence on the approach. Critics, including Trump and conservative commentators, have frequently grouped Monaco with Smith and Garland in accusations of politicized prosecutions, underscoring her operational oversight. Monaco left the DOJ in January 2025 upon the change in administration, but her involvement was central during Smith's active tenure. Now, let's go back to that. President Trump has repeatedly singled out Monaco and alleged, without evidence, that she played a leading role in directing the 2 federal prosecutions brought against him by then Special Counsel Jack Smith, which were subsequently dismissed. Blah, 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 blah. This is what the corporate press does. Lies, folks. DOJ officials told ABC News Friday that career prosecutors responded to the news on Friday morning with alarm regarding the future of prosecutor's office, which handles the bulk of the country's national security cases. Officials have raised concerns about the collateral damage from the expected firing, potentially including prosecutors walking out or resigning en masse. The White House has not commented on Siebert's job status. So once again, this just goes unseen, undone, unheard, and it's just apparently rumors. But those rumors are a brazen attack on the rule of law and have put the U.S. Attorney's Office in Virginia, in that district, into utter disarray. All because of a rumor of somebody getting fired from an anonymous source. Folks, if this isn't clickbait, rage-inducing garbage, I don't know what the hell is. I don't know. Like, how can we trust this institution? The mainstream news, that is, the corporate press. Like, seriously, how do they expect to gain our trust if they continually lie over and over and over again? Make up salacious arguments or salacious news articles just for clicks. It's all insane, y'all. That's completely just salacious. It's like, where's this even coming from, y'all? They're just making it up as they go, and they expect us to buy into it. But that's, once again, this is the world that they're creating. And you wonder why some of these nut jobs are going out there thinking that Charlie Kirk is full of hate and disgust. They're putting out all these fake statements that he's made, out of context clips, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. This is why I tell everybody, if you see something that somebody says, like Trump says, or, Ben Shapiro said something, and it's a short clip, and you don't really have any context, yeah, I would go watch the full clip, by the way, because this is what they do, folks. They'll take something and be like, oh, I can use that to bludgeon him over the head with, and sew up some rage-inducing nonsense in this country. This is what the corporate press... I blame the vast majority of the division in this country on the corporate press because, once again, folks, a lot of people in this country just appeal to an authority figure. If the corporate press, supposed to be a trustworthy institution, tells you something, these people, just because it's a quote-unquote trustworthy institution, it's supposed to be, right? Because they're on your side. They're speaking truth to power. They just believe it. So when they lie to these people, this is the bifurcation in this country, folks. The difference between the left and right, essentially, is people that are skeptical of the corporate press and actually will go fact check these people, and people that just take their word for it, just run with that and repeat it as gospel. For goodness sakes. This is the difference, folks. It doesn't really have much to do with ideology because we've had different ideologies for a very long time. And, the climate in this country, if you will, the political climate has not been this hot ever. But we also haven't had fake news on a constant stream ever. Right? Sure, the fake news, they manipulate it, they skew it in a certain way. But they didn't lie. They didn't blatantly just make up anonymous sources just to make up a salacious news story just for clicks. They didn't do that back in the day. This is something that's new, folks, since the internet's existence, at least. This is something very new. And it's destroying this country. It's destroying the cohesion. I'll put it that way. It's destroying our harmony, if you will, of coexisting. You can't coexist with people that believe that you're a Nazi. That just doesn't work, folks. People that think that it's okay to use violence as means to a political end, right? You can't live with those people. It just doesn't work. Because I'm not one to get browbeat over the freaking face by delusions. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make us believe delusions by repeating the nonsense that comes from the corporate press back to us. As if it works. Like, it doesn't. Come on, like, what are we doing here? Can you guys fact check at all? Do you even know what a fact check is? No, they don't. They absolutely don't. But I think I've rambled on for long enough. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. It's fascinating. Oh, it really is. Y'all smash that like button and smash that subscribe button if you're new around here, and share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. Click the join button, sign up, and become a member. That's the best way to help this channel grow. And y'all remember that God is always with us, and He loves each and every one of you out there. So y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.